bracket. Set the rules.
Hello, this is Nydra from GosuGamers. I'm joined here by Shaun dApollo Clark, one of the casters for the Intel Extreme Masters. dApollo, you saw a lot of games during all those days. What is your general impression of Intel Extreme Masters Hanover?
It's been a lot of fun. A lot of games, as you said, so it's hard to pinpoint exact moments. But it's always good because this was actually my first live event ever, back in IEM Cologne 2010. And then to come back to Germany for another IEM event at a bigger scale, it's pretty awesome.
You were in the company of a lot of casters today. We saw Kilaris, we saw Bitadem. Obviously you know them, but who did you enjoy casting most with?
Everybody. You know, everybody has their different strengths and weaknesses as a caster, and it was just a lot of variety. I mean, usually I do stuff with other people, and I'm actually really easygoing and able to commentate with anybody. So there was no one really in particular that I enjoyed with. Did like the games with Nydra, managed to cast a bit with him. That was pretty funny. As you know, Greg's Greg, you know, miserable Zerg player, but it was a lot of fun.
So, funny you should say miserable Zerg player. Did you expect him to do any better? I mean, he was one of the, I can say, negative upsets in the tournament. He went really bad, and most people did not expect him to do this bad. And still, he had a hard group.
From what he told me, he said he hadn't practiced in the last week or so, and a guy of Idra's the kind of quality and the strengths of Nydra always rely on his mechanics and so on. So if you don't practice for a week, that actually shows a lot more than somebody who relies on strategies and mind games and so on. So it probably affected him quite a bit that week was just kind of gone and missing, and I don't know what the actual reason was it for, though.
Looking at the groups more general, there were a lot of Koreans. I mean, naturally because of how the Intel Extreme Masters seeding work. Do you expect like to end up at Korean-dominated playoffs? I mean, groups A, B, they were like totally Korean-dominated. C, of course, with 4 Koreans, I think. Did you expect that Koreans will make it that far? And did you put any faith in any specific foreigner to reach like top 8, top 4?
I think since the release of StarCraft 2, I mean, there was an interview I did way back when StarCraft actually came out that I initially said like foreigners and Koreans were like this, but then it was just going to go like that and just go so far ahead in terms of Koreans. And I think it's just going to continue to be like that. You know, there's not even the best of the best Koreans here, yet they still beat every foreigner. And to answer the other side of that question was I thought Cass would have done better. He was kind of the one that I pinned a lot of hope on, doing really well, but unfortunately he didn't really have a good group either.
So you have less expectations of Fizz because he's like the sensation of IEM. He made it to 3 consecutive IEM playoffs. Just like he was voted sickest nut bowler. I mean, obviously the public loves him.
Yeah, I mean, in other events he's had like PvPs that have pushed him through a little bit, and PvP, everybody knows, is very gentle, it's very volatile, so I didn't really have an image of Feast at all. He did play in an invitational I did a couple of weeks back, a Scan Invitational, and he beat in that Braddock 2-0, and I was like, oh, okay, pretty cool. And I've heard about his Terran versus Terran being really good, so he actually went further than anything I'd expected from him in this tournament.
Going back to the final series, who did you place your bet on? I mean, MC versus PuMa, it's kind of like an ongoing rivalry. They come back from a Global Challenge Cologne. PuMa won there. PuMa won again in the NSL as well. So where did your vote went?
It's exactly what I said on stage pre-game was I thought that MC would win. Just because PuMa, back then when he won that, and in NASL as well, he was always very dominant against Protoss, and nobody could really deal with the strengths of his aggressive openings. And even when he didn't do it, he just took such a greed and lead because everyone expected that to come out. But the metagame has changed since then, and you know, MC knows how to play against that better now and is as stronger as a player because he's obviously worked a lot harder on Terran. So I just felt that MC would have won.
Were you surprised about seeing so many similar openings? I mean, all 4 games, they opened, PuMa went 1 rack CC, I think. than as opposed to MC's two base pressures? Do you expect more variety in the series in general?
I mean, as a spectator, as enjoying the series, maybe variety in the series would have made it better. But you know, they're both playing to win there, and I think that they both made the decision. I think MC made a few rough decisions throughout the series, but in terms of actual build orders, I think it was fine.
There are more international tournaments coming in the couple of months. Which one do you look most for?
Well, the next one. I don't look too far ahead of things, especially with events, because I want to really concentrate and focus on them and really provide a good cast. So the next event, which I'm really excited for, is IPL 4. I'm going over to Las Vegas to do that, and it's going to be an amazing tournament. I mean, IPL 3, for their first live event ever, was just amazing. It was such an experience as a caster, as a player, as a spectator, and I feel that IPL 4 is just going to, you know, go above expectations once again.
We've talked to a lot of players during those 4 days we've been here, and basically everyone is complaining about the Intel Extreme Masters Hall, that it's very loud, that it's very not esporty. Do you think that's the case? Do you see it any different?
Well, it depends which way you look at it. From a player's perspective and an esports perspective, yeah, it's really bad. Because first of all, there's the booths so close next to the players area where, I mean, a couple of them actually turned around and said, you know, in that game, I didn't even hear my upgrades finish, so I didn't know when to move out, and so I had to check physically and stuff like this. It does affect the quality of the games, there's no doubt about that. So I feel that, but I mean, at the same time, it's CBIT, right? So it's not exactly just Intel Extreme Masters, it's Intel Extreme Masters at CBIT, so it's a bit of both. And I guess you kind of already know what you're walking yourself into, but for a successful only StarCraft 2 tournament, of course, everybody knows it wouldn't be in CBIT.
Do you agree with public's vote about Feast being voted sickest not dApollo? If not, who would you vote for?
No, I think it's fine. You know, he got the furthest as foreigner. He managed to beat players that nobody would have expected from him, and he showed valiant efforts in every single series. And the way he cruised through, just, you know, skipping straight to the quarterfinals, I mean, that alone, you know, especially because it's kind of a bit of a bias, I guess, a little bit already, because it's from foreigners. So I think it's absolutely fine.
Well, I think we are done here. If you have any shoutouts to fans, to the community, this is your time.
Hey, hello everyone. Thanks for supporting me as a caster, for all the tutorials that you guys watch. I hope you enjoyed them, and just keep on following me in my progress. So it's just on Twitter, dApollo 1337 if you don't already, and then just my YouTube and Twitch, which is exactly the same for both, which is Dignitas Apollo.